Okay, this is Greg Thompson with Accelerate Action Coach Business Coaching, and I am talking to Rachelle Long from Chellie Sugar Shack Bakery. And Chellie, I could hardly wait to meet you and talk to you because according to your website, sugar cookies is something that you're pretty good at, and I happen to be a sugar cookie connoisseur. So I can hardly wait to try your cookies. So thanks for giving us some time today.
Thank you.
So tell everybody about Chellie Sugar Shack Bakery.
Well, it's a business that started in 2011, and after I was entering retirement, I was almost embarking on a 30-year career in telecommunications, but I started so young, I knew that I was going to need to do something after retirement. And I did not set out to be an entrepreneur. I did not set out to be a bakery. It was actually an ideal for my adult children because I was thinking, what am I going to do after I retire? I don't know anything else. For 30 years, I've just been at this one job. And, but I knew I didn't want to really just go right out and work for someone else after working 30 years for someone. And it was my adult kids that said, Mom, why don't you sell your sugar cookies? And I'm like, it's something I baked for them their whole childhood and into their adulthood. And they're like, Mom, why don't you sell your sugar cookies? I'm like, sell my sugar cookies? Well, for the holidays, probably about the last 25 years, I've baked and made cookie trays for my family. I have a large family, so I've never had enough money to give them all gifts. So one year I had more family than money, and I thought, how am I going to gift them? And I made this cookie tray. And after that, the family said, you never have to buy me a present again. We'll take cookies every year. So, for like 20, 25 years, I was just baking for the family. But it was actually my adult kids that said, Mom, you should sell your sugar cookies. So that one holiday season, the season of 2010, I baked some extra trays and sold them. And they sold like, and I was like, oh, I might be onto something. So it wasn't planned. It was just something that happened. It sparked, and it's like, it's hard to turn down a really good sugar cookie if you're into sweets. So that's kind of how it started. It wasn't planned. It just happened, and the menu kind of burst from there. For like the first 2 years, the only thing I sold was a sugar cookie. You could get it 3 different ways: sprinkled, frosted, or plain. So for like 2 years, that was it. And then by request, the menu grew. So people would say, you know how to make a red velvet cake? I'm like, yeah, I probably could. Well, I mean, if you could make one, I'll buy one. And so that's how my menu grew, just by people requesting different things. And I had a whole lot of people that said, I'll be the first one. I'm like, okay, well, let's try it. And so now here we are, 10 years later, and I have a really nice menu and a really nice set of customers. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more about your menu because again, I was looking at your website and yeah, a lot of good stuff on there. So tell us more about some of the other items that you can do other than your sugar cookies.
So one of the number one sellers since it's been on the menu is a Southern caramel cake. And it's just like a lovely yellow cake with a homemade caramel frosting on it. And that's something that came out of our family. My grandmother used to always bake these caramel cakes, and it was to die for. And so I was the one in the family that kind of picked up her recipe. So whenever I come to family events, it is the expectation that I walk in with a caramel cake. So that is the number one seller on the menu. And then I would say the number 2 cake is the strawberry cake. And yeah, so and any cake flavor comes in a cupcake flavor. I do a lot of the down home desserts, peach cobblers, banana puddings, and a lot of sweet potato pies, things that you can't normally go into just a store and purchase. You might go get an apple crisp, but it's not, you'd be hard pressed to walk into a place and ask for apple cobbler or a peach cobbler or banana pudding, the real banana pudding, right?
I hear you. I hear you. So a lot of times at this part of our interview, I ask who is your target market. Obviously, in your world, everybody's your target market.
Everybody.
So tell us a little bit what kind of time frame, do we order these in advance? Do you have a walk-in retail? Tell me
Right.
how to do business with you and how to get some of your goodies.
Right. So I've always existed as an online bakery. I've never had a brick and mortar store. And customers just order online, and the way they get a hold of me best is by text. You text me or you call me and place your order. And if you do it 24 hours in advance, then you pick it up the next day.
That's
And I used to deliver when we started out, probably like the first 5 years, we used to deliver all over the city, just like all over the city, as far out as Ames, Pleasant Hill, Grimes. We used to deliver. But since the pandemic, we moved to the curbside pickup, and it actually gave people a reason to be able to get out of the house after being quarantined. They actually welcomed picking it up versus me delivering it. And so when the pandemic came, then the shift went from delivery to curbside pickup. I have two different locations, my home bakery address, and then I also have pickup from the foundry down here in the Valley Junction area. So when I have really large orders as well, I have access to the foundry kitchen. And so that's a great partnership I got during the pandemic, because a lot of businesses, during the pandemic, especially small businesses, their businesses just tanked. They were, even being mandated to close and limited how many people could come in and all that. Well, for me, it was the opposite, because I was selling sugar, and sugar and stress goes together. Sugar and anxiety goes together. And so, fortunately for me, during the pandemic, my business really took off in a big way. And I think what really made it soar is that Congresswoman Cindy Axne made me the Iowan of the Week. And so there was a proclamation on the floor at the Capitol, and so that got a lot of attention. And then after that, I got the Eyes of the Business Record. So they did an interview and an article with me. So those two things combined, along with the pandemic and the stress and the anxiety that was going on, really did catapult my business. So it's been, it's been good for me.
Excellent. So how many people do you have helping you, and what all different roles do they play?
Well, it just depends on the orders, because it's like a supply and demand thing. Like you say, I don't have a store, so I bake on demand. And so I have like a crew in the wings waiting, and that crew is like family. So my granddaughters help me a lot when I have large orders. When I get these great orders like from Iowa State University or something like that. I can call my granddaughters and they'll come on, because they've been in these last 10 years. I have 9 grandkids. Every last one of them have been on the production line of helping to bake the cookies, ice the cookies, package the cookies. So they all know how to do to work in the bakery. But I have one granddaughter in particular that's really, she's really getting good with it. And I'm thinking she's going to be the person that I'll probably pass it down to and let her take it to the next level.
Oh, that's fantastic to have that help when you need it. So will you do customized, decorated items in for special events, birthdays, weddings, that type of stuff? Can you even do that?
I am more of just a down home bakery. I get really anxious when it comes to like wedding. I will not do a wedding cake. There's so much anxiety with that, and it's like I'm not the best decorator. But the pandemic has taught me. I've learned how to like really do cupcakes really good. And I do some decorating. I do half sheet cakes, and my decorating skills have gotten really good. But if you want something super fantastic, I have a lot of baker friends that I refer people to, like when they want this great wedding cake or something like that. As far as I really goes up to like half sheet cakes, and I can decorate those pretty good.
Well, I think that's a great point right there for a lot of business people out there, is that when you know you're really good at something and there's something that you really don't want to get into or you don't feel comfortable with, just stay away from it. Just do
Yeah.
just focus on what you're really good at. I think that's a great lesson right there for a lot of business people, is that you don't have to be everything to everybody. Figure out what you're good at and just really specialize and be really good at that. and then let somebody else or hand the other business off to somebody else. So that's a great, I think you've just passed on a great business tip right there. So anything else that you would like to pass along to? So you've been in business for 10 years now. That's fantastic. Congratulations. Any other words of wisdom? There's a saying that we learn from our mistakes. Smart people learn from our mistakes, but wise people learn from other people's mistakes. So are there things that you have learned that you could maybe pass along to other business people so maybe they don't make that same mistake and they can learn from you?
Well, one of the things was, in the beginning, when you're a small business, you're just doing everything. Your own, you're doing your own business. You're doing the front end and the back end, meaning whatever product you're providing, you're doing that. And then the back end, you're trying to do your bookkeeping and your accounting. And I can tell you right now, as you grow, that doesn't work. Because if you're trying to do your books and you're trying to do your accounting, then that's taken away from me in the kitchen. So when I started growing, that's one thing that I learned is that I had to outsource things that took my time, and so outsourcing, do what you do best, and baking is what I do best, and anything else I outsource.
No, that's great. That's so important right there, is do what you do best and let somebody bring in another expert to take care of what you don't enjoy doing or want to do or know how to do, quite frankly. So that's awesome.
That's one of the things I've learned just by watching other people in business, is that successful people in business is that they surround themselves with successful people. They surround themselves with experts. So once it gets outside the baking realm, I try to surround myself with people that know how to do what I need done.
Uh,
Yeah.
Great words of wisdom. So tell everybody how they can reach out to you, because I got a feeling you're going to start getting orders as soon as we get this posted online. So people are going to want to try out your goodies. So how do we get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of me is to text my number at 515-554-7731. You can call or text, leave a message. I have a website, www.sugarshack.com, and I'm also on Facebook. So there's a variety of different ways that you can get to me. And a lot of times I'm in the kitchen and I'm baking and I'm busy, so I don't get to answer that phone. So texting is like the best method to get to me. And then after that, I will respond and we go from there.
Very good. So I'm going to wrap it up with, I'm going to make you think a little bit here this morning, and I'm going to ask you, give us an example or tell us what inspires you.
Being able to be present, just show up and make a difference. And so all the different opportunities that I have working, whether it's working with the reentry folks or being out in the community with my nonprofit or with my bakery, it's just like connecting with people and not only being a difference, but just showing people that, you can do and be whatever you want. It doesn't matter where you start from, where you end from, and, but just, I'm inspired by I'm a people person, and all the things that I do allow me to connect with people in different ways. But I always just try to inspire people to let them know you can be whatever you want to be, whatever you want to be.
Well, very
whatever
good.
You want to do, you can do it.
Very good. Great thoughts. Excellent. So anyway, we are going to wrap this up and I'll let you get back to your kitchen. So Rachelle, very nice to talk to you. Appreciate it very much. We've been talking with Rachelle Long from Chellie Sugar Shack Bakery, and best of wishes for a great year for you.
Thank you so much.